Hey everyone, today I have this Red-eyed Vireo, and this should be an interesting edit. It's pretty straightforward other than this one twig that happens to intersect the head there, so I wanted to see what I could do with that. So first things first, let's give it a crop. I think I'm going to leave them pretty centered vertically, but just off-centered horizontally. And white balance is off. It was definitely a little bit too magenta because I think the camera was trying to fix a lot of that green that was happening there, and then I lightened up the shadows to really bring out that red eye. I do want to darken everything surrounding it to bring your eye into the bird there, and that seems like a good start. So let me hop into Photoshop, see what I can do. I really like how he's kind of peeking down under the branch to, looks like he's trying to peek under and get a look there. So I thought that was pretty cool. All right, here we go. So let me clone a few things first. I'm just going to actually do a little cloning on that to darken that. Get rid of that brown spot there. Another light spot right there. That should do. Now I got to get rid of this branch. And this is going to be the pain in the ass edit right here. So first I'm just going to actually get rid of the branch entirely. And then I'll worry about the top of the bird's head next. So I have an idea what I think will work for that, but I'm not totally sure yet. So there we go. We'll just cut this out, get it nice and precise there with a layer mask. Come back in with a softer brush and just kind of fade that in. All right, so what I'm thinking is I might grab that part right there. Let's transform it and put it over here, so I can have more textured feathers to kind of complete that part that was missing. So something like that. I'm gonna get rid of it everywhere and then just mask it in right along there. And yeah, that did the trick. Maybe not that feather. There we go, something like that. Haha, look at that. Nice. No one shall be the wiser, except for you because you watched me do it. Um, let's see what else. This, just because it's like such a straight stick right there, I don't really like that. So I'm just going to kind of fade that out. These I don't mind. They're a little curly. That one's a little bright back there. So let's do some burning on that. Just kind of get a soft brush and see if I can take that down a little bit. Oops, went a little too dark there. Overall, this whole area could go just a little darker. And actually, there's a lot, all these brighter spots up here. Because this bird was more under the canopy, it of course makes sense that, the overcast light, even though it was soft, is still brighter on these branches that are kind of out on the edges, which are in the foreground in this case, and are, just getting hit with more light. So that is all legit, but I still want to just kind of darken that down to really bring your eye into the bird. There's still a tiny hint of magenta in the bird itself, so I'm just gonna paint a little bit of green white balance onto that. I really want to accentuate that eye, so dodge layer to kick the catch light up and the red. Now I got to make sure I don't go too insane with that red. It's all too easy to kind of push that to an absurd level. And I think overall, actually, the head can just take some lightening and contrast on it. So let's try this just as a large kind of overall adjustment, maybe even a little bit on the back and the breast there, something like that. And there we go. I think we are done. I see one other area I want to burn, which are these light spots up here and here, just because they grabbed my eye when I just took a glance at the image. And so what I do is I usually like to zoom it really tiny so I can just get a better overall view of the photo and see if there's anything that's just like pulling for my attention. And there is still that, just that corner for some reason was grabbing me. And there we go. Oops. I think that should about do it. So from beginning to end, right there. Was actually pretty quick and easy. So hang on one sec. Let me get this saved. We'll go back into Lightroom, compare the before and after. Compositionally, this one is really much, a lot better now. with the offset versus the original way I shot it, centered. I mean, this bird just dropped down and landed there for a split second before it moved on. So I was just, on center focus point, and that's what I ended up getting. So there was no chance for me to compose. Had the bird stayed there for a minute, I totally would have composed it in camera, but with songbirds and warblers like this, that is certainly usually not the case. And look at that, right? Big difference in the overall look of this photo. How far are we in here? Look at that 5-minute edit. Pretty straightforward, but got rid of that annoying distracting branch, really cleaned up that top area right there. So it's just all about the bird. And I will say, now that I'm comparing both of these, this one overall, the bird looks a little too green for me. So I'm going to actually, here we go, hop back into Photoshop. And I'm just going to back off of that. So there was one layer, I think this was it. Yep, that did that green. Yeah, I'm just going to trash it. So I thought I needed that, but turns out I did not. So there we go. Whoops, deleted too many of them. There we go. Got rid of that layer. That looks a little bit better. Save those changes. And see, this is a good reason sometimes to compare your original or your before and after, because sometimes, you just end up pushing things too far. That being said, when you view things side by side, you certainly see the differences more exaggerated. Like this one looks really blue now, and this one looks warmer overall. Whereas viewing this one just totally on its own, especially the longer you view it, the more accustomed you get to it, and everything looks fine. But there we go. There's our final image. And thanks so much for watching. And as always, if you are interested in learning more about how I do all of these edits from beginning to end, if you have any questions about wildlife photography, feel free to visit my website and shoot me an email. I have the option to do a private one-on-one remote session where I can talk you right through an edit on your own bird photography, or any photography for that matter. I'm better with wildlife, but in a past life, a year ago, I was a wedding photographer for many years, so I do have experience with other stuff as well. But yeah, if you're interested in learning Lightroom and Photoshop, or any post-processing skills, or just have some photography related questions, feel free to reach out anytime and set up a session with me. I would be happy to work with you. Thanks so much for watching, everybody, and happy shooting.